We have with us Ms. Shweta Narayan, who is a global climate and health campaigner at Healthcare Without Harm. Shweta has work experience across the domains of healthcare, energy, and environment. And at Healthcare Without Harm, she is exploring the intersectionality between climate and health and is working with the health sector on climate action as well. So we welcome you, Shweta, and you can go ahead.
Thanks, Janvi, and I'm glad that I'm going last because I by default I'll be speaking the least because all my previous panelists and especially Ramesh Bhai, it's always inspiring to hear you have actually covered everything that I want to say. I thought my brief was to talk about how to build an effective campaign and what does it take to be a campaigner. And I think everything from research to connections with the communities, the most marginalized and impoverished are the most secluded and most excluded from the process of decision making. So connection with the communities, good research, and a little bit of knowledge of law, or maybe knowing good lawyers who can assist you, are actually the recipe or the what we call as what is a good campaign. I just to sort of give you a background, and again, I want to emphasize on the fact I have a commerce degree in bachelor's from Delhi University. I have a master's in social work from Tata Institute of Social Sciences many years ago, and I've specialized in criminology and correctional administration. And what I'm doing right now is primarily looking at environmental crimes and corporate crimes. In terms of background, as I said. And I think Ramesh Bhai also, indicated that we have to be open to understand and open to knowledge. We can have any skills or any specialty that we feel very strongly about. You can be an artist, you can be a researcher, you can be an activist, you can be a lawyer, you can you can cook well, and we have all the elements. Whatever you are good at needs to be highlighted in sort of putting together a good campaign. It doesn't have to be that you have to have a master's degree in certain kind or a PhD degree. If you have it, great, but that should not become a limitation. Whatever we are good at and we are passionate about, and we have and we are sincere in terms of putting the facts together, can make a good campaign and a campaigner. So I think that is very important to go keep in mind while going forward, because sometimes it gets overwhelming. Sometimes we see other people and we feel, oh my God, I need to have that degree to get where somebody else is at. It is not like that. You if you feel passionate about something, if you feel strongly about something, and if you have your facts right, you are a campaigner already. And you have everything to be a campaigner. I want to actually share a story. I want to share a story of a campaign and a success story, because I feel, again, a caveat, we don't have many victories, so we savor whatever victories we have. But the reason why I wanted to share this particular story is because just to highlight, again, the same aspects, what our previous panelists have spoken. Supporting the most marginalized, good research, good legal standing, and using arts in campaign tool to win against one of the biggest multinational corporations. I think it's something that we should learn, and we should sort of see how we can incorporate it. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if. Sorry, just a second. So let me see if I can share. Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So yeah, I'm going to talk about a place called Kodaikanal. This is a hill station in Tamil Nadu. I'm sure some of you would have heard of it, or most of you would have heard of it. But what I'm talking about Kodaikanal is a little in a different light. There was a mercury thermometer plant in this small town, abutting the forest. And this mercury thermometer plant was owned by Hindustan Unilever. One of the biggest names again in the fast-moving consumer goods market. And the plant was set up in 1983. It was a second-hand plant. It was brought imported from US after the mercury regulations, emission regulations were becoming stringent there. And this you will see in a lot of technology. When the technology becomes redundant in the West or becomes too toxic to environment or human health, it normally, in most cases, it gets exported to third world countries. So we received this second-hand plant, and workers were employed in this plant for 18 years, from 1984 till 2001, for 17, 18 years. And a lot of workers, and I mean, I'm going very, very fast on the facts of the case. In 2001, residents and workers around the plant found a lot of mercury, and mercury is a very toxic chemical. It can kill. Exposure to mercury can kill. Just to be clear about that. So a lot of the community members found a lot of mercury waste dumped in the forest behind the plant. And that raised a lot of alarm. In fact, on the top right photograph, if you can see, this is mercury thermometer waste with mercury, which was dumped in the local kabadiwala. So, this raised an alarm, and the Pollution Control Board issued orders to shut down the factory. Now, in 2001, when people started making these questions and asking about, like, oh my God, we found mercury in the forest, what does mercury do? And people started kind of researching around it. They found mercury is super toxic. Workers did not really know how bad mercury was to their health. But once they were kind of informed that, what are the health effects of mercury, from tremors to memory loss to mental issues, death, kidney failure, death. And some of the classic symptoms are loss of teeth and blue gums. So, if you've been exposed to mercury for a very long time, that's a very classic symptom. So once they started kind of listening and understanding the health effects from the health experts, they went back and started connecting the dots and found out that a lot of their colleagues had those kind of symptoms because they had worked in the factory and they were exposed. Some of them have also died. So between 2001 and 2003, I think 2004, they kind of, explored and found out. And in 2006, February, they finally filed a case in the Madras High Court, which was about rehabilitation and compensation and remediation. And I mean, it was not just the workers, it was their family members and their children also, because when workers would come back from the factory, they would carry mercury on their body, and eventually they would expose their family members. So there were a lot of cases of children being affected because of mercury. There were cases of women having spontaneous abortions, miscarriages because mercury affects the reproductive system also. So all of this put together, a case was filed in the Madras High Court in 2006, and the case went on. And Zaman has talked about it, that the lengthy duration that it takes for courts to, because there's so many aspects, there's so many parties, and then you need a government report, and you need this and you need that. Anyway, I'm not going to go into the details of the case, but we were assisting the workers, who were affected and who had filed the case, and in kind of supporting them with research, with information, with connecting them to health experts, scientists, so that their case can be, the evidence for their case can be strengthened. So, as part of that, we also had, we connected with a whole bunch of young artists from the city of Chennai in kind of expanding the public side of the campaign and raising awareness, because we felt that if there was enough public pressure from citizens, consumers, because Unilever products are everywhere, then probably the company would consider the demands, or the courts would see the seriousness of the matter. So and we had been engaging with young people in terms of raising awareness. And one such young person was Sophia Ashraf, who in that time, was a budding rapper and music artist. And she decided to make a song. And that song was, and you can look it up online. It's called Kodaikanal Won't. And that song was basically on the tunes of Nicki Minaj's Anaconda. And that song was launched in 2015 as an awareness tool to talk about what's happening in Kodaikanal, what workers are going through, and why we need to focus on Kodaikanal and the workers. And that song became an instant viral sensation online. And not just in India, around the world. And we had even Hollywood respond to that song. We had Ashton Kutcher, Nicki Minaj herself commented on the song, Mark Ruffalo. Like, that song really caught on. There was a petition with that song that we wanted people to sign on to sort of for Hindustan Unilever to do the right thing. And there was a lot of media that we got in terms of being on the front page of New York Times, London Times, Washington Post. We were everywhere, and the idea was that with this song, what it did was it brought back the focus on the workers, on their experiences, on the history of their struggle. And in UK, there was this online petition group that kind of picked up on this song and this messaging and did a petition, which was basically calling for a consumer boycott. Now, we are, the workers of Kodaikanal are some of the most, socially and economically marginalized people. And they were up against a company whose global advertising budget is $8 billion. So it's the classic David versus Goliath. But with the support of people around the world, there was a lot of pressure that was built on this company. People from all over the world were writing in and saying that, oh, we didn't know that Ben and Jerry's in Unilever, but after listening to Kodaikanal and after seeing what happened in Kodaikanal, I don't think I can use your product. So this kind of campaign built up, and people just completely were shocked and started reaching out to the company saying you need to do the right thing. And sure enough, and between 2015 and March 2016, there was so much of public pressure, and the company and the workers eventually entered into a settlement. 591 workers were given compensation and rehabilitation package. And that's just one part of the campaign. The other part of the campaign is the site, the Mercury factory is still contaminated, and there is pressure being built on the company to clean it up to the best international standards. But I'm just giving you, again, keeping in mind that we have very short time, I wanted to kind of give you a case study of what it took. It took us a lot of research, a lot of data and facts to ensure that our credibility is intact. So we are not saying things for the heck of saying it, but we are saying things because they are facts, they are well researched, they're well referenced, and you cannot be disputed. That cannot be disputed. We were providing support to, again, the ex-workers of the factory who were affected, who were sick. A lot of them were didn't have much money, and they had limited capacity to take on and fight for their own rights. So we supported them. We provided that support to them. And then there was a fight in the court and outside. So there was enough pressure built on the corporation to respond. So I want to go back to that meme that was shared. And yeah, this is fascinating because different people think that there are different things that we do, but I think that we do a bit of everything. And that meme is really interesting in that sense, because the Kodaikanal story itself will give you a perspective of what we do. And just also to kind of come back to the fact that you will see campaigning and campaign strategies. A lot on social media, we see it almost daily. But there is a lot of romanticization of this profession. And I'm not saying that you should not take pride in what you do, but I am just cautioning everybody that it's a lot of hard work. So let's be also aware of the fact that probably 90% of the work that we do is very hard grunt work. and 10% is absolute fun. I mean, all of 100% is fun, but 10% is interaction on social media, doing cool music videos, getting endorsements from Mark Ruffalo. All of it is in the 10% of it. So just be aware of the fact that it's not a quick win. It's not any magic that overnight you start a petition and next day you have your demands met. It doesn't work like that. But if you work hard and you are systematic and dedicated, then you are going to win. No, I mean, because you are on the right side. I wanted to request Kavya to share a music video. I mean, this is in a different
Yes.
context, and again, this is sort of using art to for communication campaign, for campaign that we had, and this is on air pollution in North Chennai. And the target on, before we see the video, I just wanted to kind of highlight that the target audience were the young residents of Chennai and the policymakers. So this music video is in Tamil, but it's subtitled and it's catchy tune. So and maybe I can come back to it after we've seen it.
Great. Yeah. Let's watch the video. Very excited.
கபடியாடுவோம் பங்கமா கூட்டமா இருப்போம் சிங்கமா கபடியாடுவோம் பங்கமா கூட்டமா இருப்போம் சிங்கமா தொடைய தட்டு நாக்கிங்கு நீ மோதுன உனக்கு சங்கு ஆனா ஆட முடியல ஏன்னா எனக்கு சுவாச கோளாறு தானா நாங்க பிறந்து வளர்ந்ததே வீணா இதுக்கு காத்து காரணம் தானா காத்த வர விடு மூச்ச விட விடு கோட்டை தொட விடு சடுகுடு காத்த வர விடு மூச்ச விட விடு கோட்டை தொட விடு டேய் டேய் காத்த வர விடு மூச்ச விட விடு கோட்டை தொட விடு சடுகுடு காத்த வர விடு மூச்ச விட விடு கோட்டை தொட விடு என் பாட்ட முப்பாட்ட ஆடுன ஆட்டத்தை இப்போ என்னால ஆட முடியல என் பாட்ட முப்பாட்ட ஆடுன ஆட்டத்தை இப்போ என்னால ஆட முடியல கனவு லட்சியம் திறம வீரத்தை கபடி ஆட்டத்தில் காட்ட முடியல காத்த வர விடு மூச்ச விட விடு கோட்டை தொட விடு சடுகுடு காத்த வர விடு மூச்ச விட விடு கோட்டை தொட விடு சடுகுடு காத்த வர விடு மூச்ச விட விடு கோட்டை தொட விடு காத்த வர விடு மூச்ச விட விடு கோட்டை தொட விடு
Kabaddi. Heed my pleas before I choke. All up us and nakas and na. The apocalypse is na. Now look for the signs, not with your eyes. Out of sight, ain't out of lungs. I said out of sight, ain't out of lungs. A breath outside and we're in trouble. Not just Delhi, check your city. It ain't pretty. Air is equal, but pollution ain't. There's levels of grey, even in Spain. But cops and hawkers, building workers, sweepers, roadside sleepers are left wheezing, sneezing, dust and these things. Hashtag no filter.
காத்த வர விடு மூச்ச விட விடு கோட்டை தொட விடு ஆட முடியல ஓட முடியல பாட முடியல காத்த வர விடு மூச்ச விட விடு கோட்டை தொட விடு ஆட முடியல பாட முடியல ஓட முடியல காத்த வர விடு மூச்ச விட விடு கோட்டை தொட விடு ஆட முடியல ஓட முடியல பாட முடியல காத்த வர விடு மூச்ச விட விடு கோட்டை தொட விடு ஆட முடியல ஓட முடியல பாட முடியல காத்த வர விடு மூச்ச விட விடு கோட்டை தொட விடு ஆட முடியல ஓட முடியல பாட முடியல ஆட முடியல ஓட முடியல பாட முடியல ஆட முடியல ஓட முடியல மூச்சு கிடைக்கல
Thank you, Kavya, for playing this. And I know that this is a bit longish video, but I just felt again to highlight different forms of campaigning and different forms of activism that we can engage in, and also to highlight the fact that, as I said, and I want to reiterate it because I think it's one of the biggest roadblock that we face, is like, do we have the skills? I think all of us have the skills, all of us have the passion, and we just need to excel in what we are doing and what we can bring to the conversation. It's
Right,
not
absolutely.
necessarily that you have to be ABC, but what can you contribute, and how can you contribute?
That's an amazing way to end your session as well. I think we all enjoyed watching the video. Very meaningful, like a lot of people are putting in the chat. In terms of your mental health, since you are working in a very tough situation, and also all of us have been through a lot this year, and especially you guys who work as advocates, I'm pretty sure it's very challenging. Ramesh also shared such intense challenges he faces. So in that sense, if you could speak for everyone and speak for yourself as to what are the mental health challenges that you face and how do you deal with it so that we are well prepared when we get into the field.
So yeah, I think very pertinent question and very, very important thing to keep in mind, because if we are not taking care of ourselves, we'll not be good. I mean, we'll not be good at taking care of anything that we do or productive for the community. So I think it's important, as much as the work is important and as much as the cause is important, we need to take care of our own self too. See, as I said, one, that victories in this kind of work are very few and far apart. Okay, so don't expect that you're going to win something overnight. I mean, if you do, then amazing, great. But the reality is that it's not that. I mean, it's super challenging. Um, we should try not to become cynical, because we tried once and it didn't work doesn't mean that it will never work. So we have to keep going at it. We can't afford to become cynical. I think the circumstances are such, the challenges that we collectively face are so immense that at this point we just have to keep going at doing the right thing rather than just sort of giving up. It is depressing, no doubt. It is, when you see the impacts, when you see what's happening with our planet, what's happening with people, the daily oppression, it's depressing. But I think what solace that I derive is that at least I am doing my bit, and that makes me feel content. That makes me feel, that I've done something worth, celebrating. So, and I think at the end of the day, it's not about how much you get paid, but it's how well you sleep in the night. And this does give you that. It reinforces your faith that um, you are on the right side of this fight, and history will judge you well.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.